Now, oil prices rose after the U.S. president's announcement that he would accelerate the deadline for Russia to agree to a truce in Ukraine. Trump's comments have stoked fears that the escalating tensions between Moscow and the West might disrupt the flow of petroleum supplies. Global benchmark Brent rose to trade close to $70 a barrel for the first time since the Iran-Israel conflict. U.S. crude surged nearly 3% to trade above $66 a barrel, marking the biggest intraday gain in more than 2 weeks. Trump announced that he would set a new deadline of 10 to 12 days for Russian President Putin to agree to a peace deal with Ukraine. Earlier, the U.S. president had threatened to impose secondary tariffs on Moscow. Under this, any country buying Russian oil would be imposed 100% tariffs. Now, Rebecca Babin, a senior energy trader at CIBC Private Wealth Group, said until now, traders had largely discounted the likelihood of meaningful follow-through on sanctions. But today's headlines are prompting a reassessment of potential supply disruptions or increased shipping costs from rerouted trade flows. Now, Trump's comments come after the EU imposed new sanctions on Russia. Those economic restrictions include a ceiling on the price of Russian crude and restrictions on the imports of refined goods from Moscow's oil. Traders are now preparing for the possibility of an earlier than expected tightening of the European diesel market and redirected Russian flows. Although those sanctions aren't set to take effect until January, however, Trump's sanctions could hit Russia immediately. JP Morgan analysts said that if enforced, oil markets cannot ignore the impact of triple-digit tariffs on Russian oil, given the significant scale of Russian exports and limited OPEC spare capacity, potentially leading to a supply shock. And for more on this, the correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen to this.
President Trump, speaking from Scotland, announced that he is shortening the ceasefire deadline for Russia to act in Ukraine from the initial 50 days to just 10 to 12 days. He warned that if no meaningful progress is made toward ending the war, the United States will impose secondary sanctions against Russia and also its trading partners. President Trump did also express disappointment in Russian President Vladimir Putin's lack of cooperation and indicated that he's prepared to act decisively. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the move, calling President Donald Trump's message timely and grounded in strength, while pledging to continue to work towards some kind of peaceful solution. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World as One.